good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of day you may be watching this video. We are coming to you today with Unlocked Car Chronicles, and I have my husband John with me. He's going to be helping me today, so we're going to talk about Unlocked, being free from your dysfunctional prison. And today I'm going to share one of the reflections with you. As I had previously stated, that in the book it's not just about reading what I went through and the different traumas, but at the end of each chapter there are reflection questions that gives you, the reader, a chance to kind of unpack and digest what you have read and to ask some questions to see where you are and to give some enlightenment, and also to help change your perspective. So this is the reflection question from chapter 7, I Need Love. And this one is looking for love in all the wrong places. Reflections. Wanting to be loved and needing to be loved are different. A want is something that you can live with or without. It's something that would be nice to have, but you can get by without it. But a need is essential for your life. And without certain essentials, you can die. Without love, you can die in an emotional and spiritual sense. Some people have said and even equated the lack of love with a natural death by saying they died of a broken heart. The lack of love can be detrimental to one's health and livelihood. Love is an intense, deep affection for another person. Love is many things. Even when psychologist Abraham Maslow developed his hierarchy of needs, he included love on the list. It begins with physiological, food and clothing, safety, job security, love and belonging needs, friendship, esteem, and self-actualization. These are the basic needs that every person desires and are necessary for their life. To be deprived of real love can leave you broken, hopeless, and feeling as if you have died or are about to die. Now is a good time for deep introspection. And before we go into the questions, I do put this at the beginning of the book, that when you're doing the reflection questions, even after you read them, do this in front of a mirror, whether it's a handheld mirror or it's your bathroom mirror, whatever mirror you have, so that you can look deep within and be able to answer it honestly. So the first question is, what does your love meter look like? How much love are you giving out? Better question, how much love are you taking in? If you are not receiving as much or more of what you are putting out, there could be a deficiency. In the deficiency, we tend to make not so good choices to get what we feel that we lack. So going back to the question, John, I'm going to ask you the first one. What does your love meter look like?
I don't know. I really haven't thought about it.
It's an honest answer. And to be honest, it's almost I guess you could say correct answer. And the reason why I say a correct answer is because if someone asked you or did a poll to say, well, what does your love meter look like? A lot of people will do what he did. They'll think about it and be like, I don't know. Because a lot of times we don't think about that. We think about, okay, is this a good day? Is it a bad day? You know, was it a rough day? You know, I made it through the day. Life was lifing. But we really don't take the time to think of, what does our love meter look like? We know when we're in love or have the euphoria and we know when we're deprived of love. But how many times do we actually sit and take deep introspection to see what does our love meter look like? Is it low? Is it in the middle? Is it high? So that's something for us to think about. Would you say?
Yeah. I mean, like, far as putting out, giving love, you got to kind of dissect what your meaning of love is. Like, for most men, like, taking action and meeting needs, we see that as love, you know, giving what's needed. So far as, you know, putting out, me trying to get things done with you or anybody else, you know, need or request, I honestly think I'm pretty good at that. I'll go above and beyond as much as I can to take actions to do things. Like, if it's emotional, now I probably could be a little better in, you know, showing emotions or sitting down and really listening, paying attention or whatever. Probably could do better on that. It just depends on how you're describing love, or people are seeing love. So.
And that's a good key point. How do you define love? Because first of all, you have to know how you define love, as well as the other person that you're dealing with. I know there's another book, The 5 Love Languages, whether you read the book or you just go online and actually take the quiz to help know and understand what is your love language, you know, and does what they say your love language, does that align with your definition of love? Because what he said is true. Most men, you know, they're doers. We're going to make sure you're taken care of, you're done, whatever you need, you know, is taken care of, whatever you want, if I can get it, you know, whatever. Like he said, emotionally, he could do better. Those are his words, not mine. But those with understanding that if he was just doing like, okay, I'm taking care of the house, I'm taking care of you, this, that, and the other, but there are no, you know, words of affirmation like I love you, you're doing a good job. If there was no, you know, no hugging, no kissing, no intimacy or anything like that, just him, okay, well, I'm providing, I'm taking care of the house, I'm paying the bills, I'm doing X, Y, Z, then for me, that could be a deficiency of love on my part, because I'm not hearing it or I'm not feeling it, the actual physical like touch of it or whatever. That could be a deficiency. So then I could feel like, well, he doesn't love me, he doesn't care, but he does. And he's like, but I'm showing you every day because I'm showing up, I'm taking care of you, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So not only understanding what his definition of love is or understanding my definition, we have to have that communication so that we know and understand.
The thing with you, and the other part when you say receiving love, I think you need to know how you feel about receiving love. Do you feel like you're receiving enough love? Because if you're not, like you said, it causes deficiency, and people who are not getting the love that they need, and it depends on who it is. Some people, without enough love, they tend to, you know, I don't want to say go off the deep end, but go off the deep end and try to find love any way they can, like you said, finding love in all the wrong places, and it could really lead you into places that you shouldn't be. it's a serious thing to me, because I've witnessed people who, for their search of love, just did some incredibly crazy things that they wouldn't usually do. Like, these people, and it's like, that's not them. They wouldn't do that, but because of the lack of love, they done, went out.
Right. And that goes back to the end where I say, when you have that deficiency of that lack, that we tend to make those not so good choices, because it's a desire that you need, because that's part of it. Love and belongingness is something that we need, because that's how we thrive. If we look at, anytime they do like research or experiments or whatever, they have like a group A and a group B. Well, you could do the same thing with children. You have one child that's in a loving household where the parents, they make sure that all their needs are met, some of their, wants, or whatever, but they're loving them, they're affirming them, they're encouraging them, they're spending time with them, they're showing up to different things for them. But then you have the other end, where you have a child who's in a household where there's a deficiency of love. They're not getting encouraged. Their needs may be met, or maybe it could be a struggle to meet the needs, or their needs could be met, but they are not getting love. They're not getting support. They're not getting affirmation. They're not getting encouragement. The parents don't have time to play with them or interact with them, so they're starving. So if the only time they get interaction with somebody, it seems like, oh, they like me or they love me, is I'm at school or they're somewhere else, then they're going to start doing certain things in order to get that feeling or have that feeling all the time. And if it's not corrected or not dealt with, then as they grow older into teenagers, because that's where it started, because that's where it kind of started with me. Well, before that, but going in as a teenager, it went left, because now, like I say, reading in the book, it's like the only way that I felt love, because I didn't have that love that I desired or wanted, or I saw everybody else have. So, okay, if I'm getting with a guy and they're like, and I'm doing what they want, or we're having sex and they're saying, I love you, because I wasn't getting the I love yous. I wasn't getting, the hugs and the kisses enough that I needed at home. So now I'm putting myself in situations and circumstances that sometimes I don't necessarily want to be in, but because I need the love, I need that affirmation, I need that connection. So I'm putting myself in places and spaces, making those not so good choices to get what it is that I'm lacking. And children, if you think about children, they act out. They don't know how to say, hey, I'm not getting enough love, I'm not getting enough attention. But in the same token, we as adults don't always know how to say that I'm not getting enough love, I'm not getting enough affection or attention. Or if we do get the courage to say it, or we do say it, and the person that we're saying it to doesn't change, and they don't give us the things that we need or that we desire, then what are we going to do? We're going to go outside and, like you say, what you say, go off the deep end? Mm-hmm. That go off the deep end and do things that, no, we shouldn't be doing to get what it is that we need. And that's why it's important, before you get to that point of going off the deep end, to sit and look at your love meter. Like, where are you? Are you giving so much? Are you pouring out so much of yourself that you're not getting enough in? So now you're dry, you're depleted. And whenever we get depleted, we're going to do anything to get hydrated again. And a lot of times that anything compromises our morals, compromises our ethic, compromises even our sound judgment of us doing things that we wouldn't normally do in the right state of mind. Would you agree?
Yeah. And then I think it's important to take an assessment of, you know, how you feel about love, because it can go from one end of the spectrum to the other. You have people who feel like they're not getting enough love and they will do anything to get that love or that feeling. Then you have, on the opposite end, those who like, okay, I'm not getting what I want, and they turn cold. They turn cold. They just, it's almost like they shut off. It's like it's a protective thing. Like, okay, I can't get the love, or not getting love, it causes me to feel hurt and pain and being depressed. So I'm just going to stop all of this. I'm going to protect myself, go into protective mode, and I'm going to become, you know, like stone-hearted. So
yeah, that's true. You can't go from one end of the spectrum to another end, and it's not always a good thing. And that's why you have to do the introspection so that you know where you are. It also helps you, I guess, how do I want to say this? I guess protect yourself in a sense, because a lot of times we can put too much expectation on someone else of what it is that we're expecting them to do, and maybe not realizing that they don't have the capacity to do it. And it's not maybe that they don't want to do it, but if they don't have the capacity to do it, and we have this great expectation of what it is that we want, and then when we get let down, then we want to blame the other person, and it's not always the other person, because they just didn't have the capacity to do it. But if you know where you are, and you take that step back to reflect, then you may need to change your expectations of that particular person. Or if that's just your level of what it is you want, then okay, you may have to find it somewhere else. But you can't expect a great measure for something small. It's like I'm saying, okay, I want grapefruit juice. You know, grapefruit is big. So I want a glass of grapefruit juice. But I'm trying to get the juice from grapes. A grape is small. The grape doesn't have the same capacity to give as much juice as the grapefruit does. They have two different capacities. But if I'm steady going off on the grape, because I said this is how much I want, it's my expectation, it's my issue. The grape is saying this is all I can give. I can't give any more. So a lot of times we have to actually look at, when we're defining love and what we're looking for, or even what our desires are, and from the person that we're desiring and wanting it from, we need to take a step back and also look at, are our expectations higher than the demand that we require them to meet? What do you think? question. Well, we kind of went through both sides of it. The meter, you know, how much are you putting out? Okay, we'll touch on this a little bit. How much are you putting out? So, are you putting that out because that's your norm? Or you're putting extra out because, okay, well, if I do X, Y, and Z, then I'll get this back. Are you putting that out because that's just your nature? That's who you are. Like for me, I'm a giver. I'm a giver at heart. So I'm gonna get stuff. My husband be like, "Why is you buying this now? Who is this for?" I'd be like, "I done made up a list of people I'm finna give stuff to or whatever," and I give more than I actually receive. But for me, I think at one point, I was giving so that I could receive, because it was a deficit. It was a deficiency in me not having enough love. So I would always overdo so that I would receive, because it was like, okay, I'm gonna give this to you. So if I give this to you, or if I do this for you, then you'll do it back for me. And a lot of times that's not the case. We do and we give to other people, and we may receive different things back, but a lot of times it's not always from the same person. It can be from other people or other things or other instances, but it's the mindset. What is your mindset behind it? Because initially when I was dealing with the deficiency, my mindset was, if I do this for you, if I give and I do this, that, and the other, then you're going to give it back to me. Or like I said, if I'm giving and I'm doing, then I'm going to get the love that I want. I'm going to get the attention, you know, that I want. But then when I didn't receive it back after I gave all of this, then I was in a depressed state. I was in a hopeless state. So it's like, if you're a giver, then you give. Like I said, I give, whether I receive back or not. I just like giving. That's part of my love language, acts of service. I give to people. So even if I don't give it back, it's okay that if I don't, you're right. If I don't get it, if I don't get it back, it's okay, because that's just part of who I am. So if you're pouring out all this love, or you're pouring out of yourself, are you doing it because that's just part of who you are? Because that's who you are. Whether you get it back or not, you're fine.
Well, I feel that it deals with two things, like you were saying, it's the condition of your soul. One, you know, where you're at, and the other thing is, they go hand in hand, the perspective of what you got. See, back in the day, I think it was a combination for me. I did give to receive, but I also gave because I like doing it. Then, you know, as time went on, it's just my perspective of doing it because it was enjoyable to do so. So it's just, you know, yeah, I was in a better place. And the perspective of how I felt about it, or how I seen giving, you know, it changed, you know, even doing extra. Sometimes doing stuff for people who you feel that they didn't appreciate it, or they don't appreciate it, it may have frustrated or got you to the point that you was real pissed about it. But then, you know, through different leaders, the perspective change. It's like, okay, now it is what it is.
I like that. That's good. So we hope that from this episode of Unlock Car Chronicles that you'll take the time to sit and identify your love meter. Where is it? That you'll sit and you'll identify of the love that you're giving out, of all that you're pouring out. Are you doing, what is your perspective of it? Are you doing it because you want something in return? Because it's a deficit, it's a deficiency in you, or that's just your nature? You know, and also just making sure that even if you're in that place and you realize that there is a deficiency, what choices are you making to get what it is that you're lacking?
You got to figure out what's inside of you, where your soul at, and why is it there? Why is it like that?
Right. What is the void? And sometimes, yes, taking introspection, that does help, but also you may need help. You know, I always say, is Jesus in therapy? That works for me. That's, you know, but you need help. You need a counselor, you need a therapist, a life coach, someone that's going to help you get to the root of your issue, get to the root of why you do what you do, why you think how you think. Sometimes it just takes talking to another person, not just anybody, but someone that can actually help you navigate to get to the root of those issues, so that you're able to turn things around and get on the path that you desire and that God desires for you. So we hope that this episode helped. Again, remember, my motto is, don't allow the traumas of your past to imprison your future. It's time to get unlocked. Welcome to your new journey. If this has helped you, please subscribe, like, and share, and we'll see you on the next episode of Unlocked Car Chronicles. Have a great day.